Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome to Nomad Boat Building. This is part 2 of my canoe restoration series. Let's get into it. If you want to start boat building, canoe restoration is not a terrible place to start. A typical canoe restoration takes anywhere from 50 to 100 hours on average. That all depends on what work it needs. Most of the jobs are relatively small, but there are a lot of them. On one hand, it gives you a chance to develop a technique and then repeat it. Without even looking at the canoe, there's a laundry list of repairs I can pretty much count on having to do, and one of them is stem repairs. Why are stems always a problem? Well, it's pretty logical when you think about it. Canoes are almost always stored upside down, and any moisture that's inside or outside of the canoe naturally wants to flow towards the ends of the stems. Also, the bow area is the one spot that doesn't get as much air movement as anywhere else in the canoe. And anytime you have moisture and lack of air movement is usually a host for rot problems. One approach is to steam bend and replace an entire stem, but that's actually pretty challenging and fairly time consuming. A simpler and more appropriate option is usually just to do a localized stem repair, in which we scarf a new bit of wood onto the end of the stem. Now I'm going to show you the technique that I use 90% of the time. We got a lot of work to do, so let's get started.
It's pretty obvious the stem of your canoe needs repairs when it looks like this, but what about when it looks like this? To most people this looks perfectly fine, but to my eyes I see the black staining between the breast hook and the inwales, and where the rub rails meet the stem. This black staining could be the result of iron oxide mixing with the tannins in the oak. When they get together they also produce lye. Lye can break down the structural qualities of the wood. But this could also be fungal growth, and fungal growth is the beginnings of rot, which we all know is the mortal enemy of wooden boats.
I was really hoping this was the canoe that I wouldn't have to do a stem repair on, but not so lucky. Look at this. I got the rub rails and the canvas off, and I don't have just some rot in here. I got a full-blown mushroom, and that's not great. You can see the ends of the inwales are a little messed up, as well as the end of the stem. So I'm gonna have to do some repairs on there. Funny thing is, there's no mortise or tenon coming up through here, which you usually see. This isn't a production canoe though, so I can't tell if there's a little stub mortise in there or not. I'm poking around, but it's not clear, so we'll find out when I open it up. And hopefully I can do this repair such that I don't have to replace too much on the ends. Ideally, if you have rot, the best course of action is to go back and get 18 inches beyond where you found the rot, but that can be awfully invasive. I need to repair the stem on this canoe, and to do that I need to gain access. Now, instead of pulling off a whole run of planking, I'm just going to cut the planking back at the first rib here. Just divide a line between the fasteners that are there, and work at it with a utility knife until it's done.
I'm cutting this off at about a 45-degree angle and as far below the rot as I can get within this opening. Now once it's cut off, you have to look at the end grain. If you still see rot, you have to go down further. I consider the distance you see here to be about the bare minimum. Now you can do this with a fine-tooth saw or even with a hacksaw in a pinch. The exact angle isn't important, but the steeper the better.
Now if your cut isn't nice and square, you want to tune it up a little bit. Next we take a scrap of door skin and slip it on in behind. And then you simply trace the outside of the stem here, the outside of your cut. In this case we're going the underside of the stem, and there's the end. And then I want to reach inside and try and get as much of the inside of the stem as possible. There we go. I just need to connect the dots and design the shape of my stem replacement. So here I've designed my stem replacement. There's the tracing I did off the canoe, and I've basically added this line to the inside here. At the top I wanted to mimic the original depth of the stem. Here I cut my stem out in two pieces. Now this little piece down here is very important. This is what's actually going to connect the new stem to the old one. So this shape here represents the face of the part of the stem that still exists in the boat. So we need to add a little bit on here that's going to connect those dots. Now the thickness here, it'd be nice if it's equivalent to the depth of the stem so that you basically double it up, but I don't think it absolutely has to be, and it depends on the variety of wood you're using to do this job. I'm using a very hard wood. I'm using black locust. It's quite strong as the oak, if not stronger, and so I think this will be okay. We have to bear in mind that there is still
going to be a little bit of adhesion going on between the new stem and the old along the face, although it's not a great adhesion because of the end grain. We could also add a screw through here in order to connect these two guys mechanically. And there's also planking holding these things in place, so I think this is going to be quite adequate. In this example, I kept the depth of the new stem consistent from the area around the scarf through to the end of the stem. This way the new stem supports both the inwales and the breast hook. Next we're going to take this and we're going to get some material to build the new stem. This is a job I've already done, but I'm going to get some other material, just some softwood, to show you the process of doing that. Our first step is to determine just how thick the wood needs to be. So if I measure the original stem, I get about 3/4 of an inch of width. This is just for an example. Here we'll use this piece of pine as our material for this job. It happens to be 3/4 of an inch already. So now we also want to align the grain flowing with the shape of the stem as much as possible. Ideally we want to do this with a nice sharp pencil, but so that it shows up on camera, I'm going to use something a little heavier. I'm going to trace along the back side. Now this side doesn't matter very much. We can do this by eye later on even if we wanted to, but the important line to draw is this one here. That's got to meet up and match the face of the existing stem. And then of course this is where we cut our scarf. That's fairly important. Now the face of the existing stem, the outside face, that's fairly important too, but we can always leave it a little large and tune it to shape and place. Now the very top cut here, what we want to do is make sure we add a little bit of extra material on there. Just a 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch should be plenty. So now let's go cut this out on the bandsaw. We'll start by adjusting the guides to the correct height above the work. In general, a good rule of thumb is it should be a little bit lower than the thickness of a finger. Then we're going to cut it out. I'll start by doing a cut across the end and then do a cut here to rough out the general shape. Now I've done my best to cut right to the line where these two faces join, and that's because it's kind of difficult to try and shape in there, and this rough cut we get from the bandsaw is beneficial to our gluing actually. I'm not going to bother finishing up any of the other surfaces just yet. We're just going to have a quick look at how this fits. Now until it can actually fit underneath here, it's never going to sit quite properly, so what I want to do is get it as close as possible and just have a good look at it. And if everything looks like it's generally fitting okay down inside, I'm just going to mark this exact shape. Even though we took it off the pattern, it can always change a little bit. I'm going to mark it on the back of this. So now I've got a new line that I can cut to. And when I go over and cut to this, I'm going to leave it just a hair long, just the same, because the fact that it's sitting off at a bit of an angle is going to affect that length. One thing to be very careful about is that you don't have too sharp a point on your end of your scarf. That'll often hang up inside of your scarf cut and give you a misreading. So just take a bit of sandpaper and knock that back a little bit. Even if it's a little bit blunt on the end by 1/16 of an inch, that's just fine. With my end cut to length, I'll try and fit it again. And that feels pretty good. Okay, now we can move on to the next part of the fitting job.
I just want to take a moment to thank you for sticking with me so far. And if you'd like to support these videos, of course you can subscribe, but you could also join me on Patreon. You can find a link down there in the description. Now let's get back to work.
I want to make sure that this thing is well centered on the stem. And so inside, it should match where the existing stem is because they're the same thickness. On the outside, I want to have a center line here. And what I'd like to do is hold my pencil with my finger from one side and then the other side. And that usually gives me a reasonably accurate center line. Now down here where it meets the stem, the original stem, what I want to do is just transfer the width of the face of the stem onto the front of this piece right here. And if we can, we're going to reach up inside and just try and mark the bevel that's on the stem onto the inside of our cut. We can do the same thing up here at the inwale. I'm going to mark the width of that inwale too. Now, they should pretty much be about the same. They might be slightly different. I wouldn't worry about that. Now we can remove this from the canoe, and now it's a matter of connecting the dots. Again, I'm going to use my finger as a guide. I'm just going to mark the face of the stem on one side and the face of the stem on the other side. Now, we need to cut this bevel. If you look at the existing stem, it's beveled from that front face right to the back edge. So again, using my fingers as a guide, I'm going to pick up this depth right here and I'm going to carry it right through, like so. I'll do that on the other side. We don't need to really take any information about this bevel off of here. We could use a piece of the original stem for doing that. Or we could even use this little line that we've recorded on the inside of our scarf to set the bandsaw up for that. Now, you don't need to use a bandsaw. You could be using a block plane, belt sander, or any other device that you prefer. I generally use the bandsaw to rough it out, then I'll finish up with a block plane or sanders. Over at the bandsaw, I'm going to use a piece of the original stem to set this angle. Just going to put it inside the blade, tip it up until it approximates that same angle. It's helpful to flip it around to the other side and double check because these aren't always symmetrical. What I recommend is if it isn't, you split the difference. Now there's a number of ways you can go about cutting this. One of them is using a fence. What we basically need to set it up for so that it cuts that angle but stops at the depth of the stem. And that's about there. Now I'm going to have to run this through here with the stem face pointing down in each case. And we're going to need to try and rotate this as it passes by the blade. Here we go. There's the finished product. It's beveled just on these two faces to match the original stem. And this part that we've added onto stays squared. Now we'll clean these up just a little bit, but they don't need to be very clean for this kind of project. The planking's going to cover this over. So long as it's fairly flat, that's good enough. So now we can go on to cleaning up this inside face. Put a little chamfer or a round over on this edge if we feel like it. And then we'll put it back in the canoe and have a look. Now I'm also going to clean up these faces just slightly with this block plane. That looks fine. Back here at the boat, we'll pop it in and have a look. I'd say that's just about as perfect as it needs to be. We have a slight bit of material sticking up past the planking, and that's perfect. What we want to be able to do is nail this planking on, and then we can just take a plane and knock that back to a nice smooth shape once it's all back together. Here on the inside you can see it matches the width of the original stem. Now before you glue, remember that you got to get the varnish off the back of this stem. Whatever glue you use isn't going to hang on to this very well. Now I'm going to suggest you use epoxy because it's going to do the best job of giving yourself a good strong bond back here. Now, epoxy and oak don't like each other, so you really need to make sure you're roughed up pretty good. I'm going to use a narrow paint scraper to get the old varnish off, and it doesn't hurt to score up the inside of that stem a little bit, just in the area where you're going to glue in the replacement part. And you can see I've got inside of the stem scraped back and roughed up a little bit. I've glued in our stem replacement. So here's the mock-up I made, and this is what we're seeing. I added a little epoxy to the very end grain of it, and that's really just because this is where the trouble starts, water getting into that end grain. Now I've used a very highly rot-resistant wood. This is black locust, so I'm not very concerned about it. However, it doesn't hurt to paint out the end of that end grain with something, and I had epoxy wet, I might as well. It's the most impervious of my materials that I could put on there. Now I've used a little bit of wax paper between that and the existing boat to keep that from sticking. And then down here I've added wax paper again to the inside of the planking on both sides, and I didn't absolutely have to do that, but it's a nice idea. There's always a bit of squeeze out, and it's nice that down the road, if somebody else needs to do repairs, that they're not going to come across this planking being solidly glued to that stem, because that's not going to help them one little bit. So now my job is to just pull out that wax paper, open up the planking a little bit, and look for any glue squeeze out, and just sand it off a little bit. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to do a tiny bit of touch-up.
So that's the bare bones of doing a stem repair. So there's one more little detail I'd like to touch upon, and that's when you have a little tenon on the end of the stem. Now this particular example we didn't have one, but let's take a look at another canoe that did.
This canoe happens to have a stem that's cut off flush with the bottom of the inwales, but in most cases there's a tenon that connects these two together. We'll go through the basic steps to do this. In this particular case, this canoe has got new inwales, but even if it's old inwales, the process is pretty much the same. To cut that tenon, I start by running a fine-tooth saw underneath the inwales on either side of the stem to mark the height of the tenon's shoulder. Now the width of that tenon is usually the same width as the outer face of the stem. Continue cutting by eye until it looks like you've created a line that is parallel with the center line of the canoe down to the face of that stem. Naturally, it helps to draw these lines out before you start. Once you've cut the shoulders, you can start by ripping out the tenon. Now I'm using a Japanese Ryoba saw, which is designed for ripping. Now you can probably get away with a dovetail saw, or any saw really for that matter, but the finer the teeth, the easier the job you're going to have with this particular operation. You can actually do this operation without a saw. A chisel will work. You need to be very careful to split away the waste wood a little bit at a time until you reach your line. Then you might have to do a little bit of paring to clean it up. Making these rip cuts on this little skinny material can be kind of difficult at the best of times, so it might take you a few attempts trying to hold the material in different ways until you can get a nice steady stroke. You may also have to try using different saws until you find the one that does the job best for you. The best advice I can give you is to just be patient, take your time, and eventually you'll get there. If your results are not quite what you hoped for, don't worry about it. Even the tightest joint is going to get covered by a stem band in the finished product.
Thanks for sticking it out to the bitter end, so I hope that was useful to you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell because there's going to be more episodes in this series. Ciao for now.